All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Houston Rockets Daily. My name is Jackson. I post daily Rockets content. Today, we got a comment actually on yesterday's video from James Pierce, and he said, The Athletic projects them at 22 wins? 22 wins? We're going to be the same team as last season? Skip. I have issues with that. And it gets me to Vegas betting odds as well. I believe, don't quote me on this, I believe it's 23.5. I'm not a betting man. In fact, the reason I'm not a betting man is because I don't know how to place these bets. If somebody could actually, if somebody who knows how to place these bets and can hook me up with the site or however I place a bet for the over of 23.5, I'm taking it. I don't care. This Rockets team improved. They improved. Not addition-wise, all right, as far as free agency goes, right? Last season, what did we do? We re-signed David Waba, who was a defensive beast. I loved having Waba on our roster. Fortunately, he's no longer with us. And we signed Daniel Tice to, 3 years, $36 million, something like that. That ended up being a big swing and miss. I was listening to a podcast, I think it was The Athletic with Kelly Eichel. I love Kelly Eichel. He writes for The Athletic. And I was listening to him talk, and he was like, the Rockets, if we played in 15 crunch time games last season, where let's say we've got 5 minutes left on the clock in the fourth quarter and it's a tie game. Last season, what did we do? We probably went 0-15. Even if you win 5 of those 15 games this season, now I feel like I'm straying here. This video is not financial advice. All right, I'm not saying go take the over on 23.5, but for The Athletic, I would imagine it was John Hollinger who wrote this article because I think he's doing deep dives for every team right now. The Houston Rockets will win 25 games. They'll win 25 games. If we take a look back to last season, our last 10 games, what did Jalen Green average? He was putting up over 25. What did KPJ average? He was putting up over 20. Now we have Jabari Smith Jr., who 15-point per game scorer, I think, is his floor. If you want to be really generous and really nitpick, say he struggles, we'll be super generous here and say 13 points. Jabari Smith Jr. is averaging more than 13 points for this upcoming season, I'll tell you that. What else? We added Tari Eason. Tari Eason, if we want to be really generous with him as well, I'll give him 10 points. So we just added about 25 points tonight right there. And what's the contingent? They're good on defense. In fact, Tari Eason is defense-oriented, 1-5 guardability. Jabari Smith Jr., I won't go as far to say he's 1-5 guardable, but he can switch on to a guard, and I'll feel confident with it. Tari Eason and Jabari Smith Jr., not only offensively do they give us about probably 25 points a night, and that's being generous in my opinion because Tari Eason averaged over 20 in preseason. I know it's preseason, we're taking it with a grain of salt, but he's proving to me that he can shoot the 3-ball, which was his biggest what if. So you guys know, I used to live in Chicago. I recently moved. You see the Chicago flag right there. The Bulls had the 18th pick in the draft. And so I follow a bunch of Bull Twitter accounts, and I forget who it was. I think it was Bull Source or something. And he was pretty much preaching about Tari Eason. Now we play our final preseason game tomorrow. If Tari Eason goes 20-10 again, you have a gem on your hands. All right, I steal the draft outside the lottery. I really don't think that's far-fetched. He wasn't a lottery pick. He's picked just after the lottery, but if we did a redraft right here, right now, they would pick Tari Eason in the lottery 100%. But the point is, my Bulls fan, or my Bulls Twitter account that I follow, he was like, a lot of us wanted to draft Tari Eason, and of course he won 17. Well, look at him now. So teams around the league are already beating themselves up. And this is a team that picked after us. I'm a Bulls fan. I'm also a Rocket fan. The Bulls could really use Tari Eason. Any team, whether you're contending or rebuilding, could use Tari Eason. So I think Jabari Smith Jr. and Tari Eason are being severely undervalued. And when we look at our starting lineup, as long as Eric Gordon's in that starting lineup, which I'm still skeptical about because tomorrow's a big preseason game for Daishen Nix. Hopefully he plays, and Ty Washington Jr. I don't think Ty is necessarily ready at this current point to just be a reliable backup point guard. He has his games, but he also has his off games. So I think you should pair him with Eric Gordon. Whoever the backup point guard role goes to, I think you should pair the backcourt with Eric Gordon. And even though Eric Gordon is starting, that doesn't necessarily mean that he won't be subbed out 4 or 5 minutes into the game to run with the bench unit once the first unit gets subbed out. So when we look at our starting lineup, we're looking at Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green, Eric Gordon. This is where things get kind of interesting. I'm going to go ahead and say it's Jabari Smith Jr. and Alperen Şengün. I wouldn't also be surprised if it was Jae'Sean Tate and Alperen Şengün. I wouldn't even be surprised if they put Gordon on the bench, went some type of mix of Jabari and Jae'Sean Tate and Alperen Şengün. Jae'Sean Tate, like, double-digit scorers don't grow on trees, let alone 15-point-per-game scorers. I know Jae'Sean Tate isn't a 15-point-per-game scorer, but in the 2 years he's been in the league, he's averaged about 12 points a night. And if we're looking at his preseason game, most specifically the last one, I saw confidence from downtown. So my point is this. The Houston Rockets will score points. I don't think anybody here is arguing that. Now, especially, I hate using preseason as kind of like, it happened in preseason, it happened at the end of last season, it happened for big, longer durations at the start of the season. The Houston Rockets will go through slumps, right? Offensively speaking, every team's going to go through slumps. So not every night we're going to drop 120 points, but as far as offense goes, I genuinely think the Houston Rockets will be a top 15 offense. And if we're a top 15 offense and we're not dead last in defense, and we're not dead last in free throw shooting, I have a hard time wrapping my brain around that the Houston Rockets will not clear 22 wins. I look around the league and I'm thinking San Antonio, Indiana. I don't think that I think that's more of a better projected number for those two teams with their rosters right now. Like, we have our franchise guy, and it's Jalen Green. We have his knight in shining armor. Maybe that's not a good use of knight in shining armor, but you have Jabari Smith Jr., the number 3 pick, and for some weird reason, people forget Jabari Smith Jr., not Rocket fans, but NBA media, like, what was it? This was trending on Rockets Twitter earlier today, was that I think it was the NBA who said 5 years down the line, something like that, who's going to have the biggest impact in the NBA, and it was Chet Holmgren, it was Jaden Ivey, the 5th pick was thrown in there. Obviously it was the number 1 pick, Paolo Banchero. Point being, there were 4 options, or maybe there were 5, and Jabari Smith Jr. wasn't on it. Well, the tough news for them is Jabari Smith Jr. was projected number 1 all the way, like throughout the entire college season. He was projected number 1 all the way up until draft night. So Jabari Smith Jr. is a stud. All right, Tari Eason's a stud. Jalen Green's a stud. KPJ's a stud. Alperen Şengün's a stud. We have nice bench scoring. Guys like KJ Martin Jr., Garrison Matthews, if he makes the roster, will give you probably 10 points a night. Josh Christopher's looking to ascend after his strong rookie season. This is a deeper team than I think a lot of people realize, and offensively, we have too much firepower to only win 22 games. Now, if we're talking over 30, maybe we have a different conversation, but 22 wins, I think that's a little ridiculous. Let me know what you guys are thinking down below. Hit the like button, hit that sub button, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.